Welcome, Jesuit sports fans, to the second episode of the Jesuit Sportscast. I'm your co-host, Kenny Dice, and I'm joined here today with fellow co-host Lucy Maddocks. Lucy, we had a great week of sports, and I think we should just hop right into it with volleyball. So what were your thoughts on the volleyball game this past week?
Yeah, last Tuesday, our volleyball team traveled to Westview, where they faced the Wildcats and beat them in set 3. And they also faced Southridge at home last Thursday, where they won in set 3 as well. And super impressive game. Went on a 14-point service run, if you're not familiar with that, as in they were serving 14 points in a row. Super impressive, and definitely shows that they dominated these two teams in the Metro League. Super fun to watch.
Yeah, they also had a tournament at Central Catholic where they faced 5 of the top varsity teams in Oregon and had a 4-1 outcome, which is pretty good for the Crusaders, but unfortunately lost in 3 sets to the talented Sprague team. And Lucy, I think this is because of the amount of games in this short amount of time, and I think the Crusaders were just really tired in this last game, but nonetheless a great outcome, and I'm excited for the rest of the season.
I completely agree. And now, flipping it over to our cross-country team, they just had their first meet on Saturday at the Ash Creek Cross Country Festival. Kenny, tell us a little bit about how our teams did.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day for some cross-country, and I think both the men's and women's team really performed well for the first meet of the season, with all the men's and women's finishers both finishing in the top 15. 4 Jesuit finishes in the top 10 as well as senior Liliana Hudnut finishing 4th in her division, and senior Caden Swanson in the boys division finishing 1st out of all the runners. So I think it was a great outcome for the Crusaders. Lucy, what about the JV team for the meet?
Yeah, not only did our varsity teams perform super well, our JV teams also made themselves a really big name at this meet. The women's JV team took home first place with 2 Jesuit freshmen taking the number 1 and 2 spots. That was Maeve O'Scanlan and Anya Augustine. And these are some last names we've heard before, especially in the cross-country world. So it's going to be exciting to see what these two can do in their Jesuit experience, as they are only freshmen.
For sure.
And our men's team placed second behind a strong South Eugene team. And it was senior Ethan Strong who placed 3rd, and sophomore Liam Donnelly who placed 4th. So top 5 finishers, and they're both, we got a sophomore in there and our senior who's leading the JV pack. I think it's pretty awesome to watch.
Some great young talent.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, now let's kick it over to our game of the week from last week. We had our Jesuits football team face the Central Catholic Rams on Friday at Cronin, and Lucy, another disappointing outcome for the Crusaders.
Yeah, 28-6, disappointing to watch, but it was senior Matt Eilers who kicked off the game with the first touchdown. So it was kind of fun. We got some points on the board this time, as opposed to our first week of football. But unfortunately, after our score, the rest of the game did belong to the Rams. And it was quarterback Crew Newman who kind of dominated the rest of the game. He's definitely a shifty player, so I think it was hard for them to take him down.
I think Jesuit struggled for a lot of this game. I think one of the biggest areas of struggle was their tackling with the shifty Crew Newman, as you said. And I think, it was really tough to bring down some of those Rams. But coming out of halftime, Jesuit looked a lot more promising. And, they were able to start bringing down Crew Newman, whether it was a sack or just a long play, and really showed their second half potential. So I'm excited for next week's game against the West Lynn Lions at West Lynn. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah,
definitely. I think they're starting to mesh together more. They've been facing some tough teams, especially in these first 4 weeks with West Lynn and then Tualatin coming up. But I think they're starting to gel and kind of figure things out a little bit more.
For sure.
And now, flipping over to the soccer pitch, we have our women's team. They faced Summit last Friday. They were all the way down in Bend, long trip, and they walked away with a 5-0 win. Goals by sophomore Joe Frischnick, freshman Natalie Weber, and junior Sophia Stiles, senior Abby Cox. She always is in these. I mean, don't need to guess who's scoring.
She's always in a position to strike.
Exactly. And junior Claudia Rose. And some exciting news for our Jesuit women's team. We've had 2 recent commitments from Zoe Anderson, who committed to Santa Clara, and they are a nationally ranked program, won a couple years ago. So I think that's really awesome for her. And defender Sophia Stiles just committed to Rutgers, and I think that's awesome. She had a goal right after she announced her commitment, so what a way to celebrate.
Yeah, I think the next game, they faced Lake Oswego here at Cronin, and once again, 5-0 win. Just keeps on dominating with their wins and Goals came from Claudia Rose, Natalie Weber, and Hannah Slama tonight. So, I think it's just another great win for the Crusaders and another great step in their soon-to-be championship season, in my hopes. But now let's kick it over to the preview for this week. The women's soccer team faces Tualatin on Thursday, traveling to Tualatin. And volleyball has a game against Aloha, also at Aloha, on Tuesday. Cross country has their first league meet against Beaverton and Mountainside at Mountainside. And men's soccer faces Ida B. Wells here at Cronin. And Lucy, tell us a little bit about the Jesuit Sportscast game of the week.
Our game of the week, in our opinions, is the volleyball game against Sunset. It's at home on Thursday, and I think this is going to be a really exciting game. Sunset is always a very dominant team in the Metro League, so I think our team, honestly, in my opinion, is going to walk away with a win. Super talented, and Sunset, they always bring the heat, but I think it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's all we have for you guys today. I've been your co-host, Kenny Dice, and I'm joined here with Lucy Maddocks, and we'll see you next week for episode 3 of the Jesuit Sportscast. Thank you.